Video opens with a shot of a seemingly happy couple, perhaps looking through old photos or enjoying a quiet moment at home. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a story that peels back the layers of a seemingly perfect marriage to reveal a painful secret. It's a story about trust, betrayal, and the difficult journey of one man, Mark, who discovered his world wasn't what it seemed. Mark and Sarah had what everyone called a storybook romance. They met in college, fell in love fast, and built a life together over 15 years. They had two beautiful children, a cozy home in the suburbs, and a circle of friends who admired their strong bond. From the outside, they were the perfect team. Mark, a dedicated architect, worked hard to provide for his family, while Sarah, a freelance graphic designer, managed the household and was the heart of their home. She was the loving wife, the caring mother, the one who remembered every birthday and planned every family vacation. For Mark, she was his rock, his everything. He trusted her completely. Their life was, by all accounts, a happy one. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, things began to change. It started with small, easily dismissible details. Sarah began working late more often, her freelance projects suddenly demanding her presence at client meetings that stretched late into the evening. She became more protective of her phone, always keeping it face down or taking it with her everywhere, even to the bathroom. When Mark would ask about her day, her answers became vague, filled with generalities about work stress and deadlines. He brushed it off at first. After all, they had been together for so long. A little distance was normal, he told himself. Life gets busy. The first real crack in Mark's perfect world appeared on their anniversary. He had planned a surprise dinner at the restaurant where he had proposed. He'd arranged for a babysitter and bought her a beautiful necklace she'd been admiring for months. But when he called her that afternoon, excited to tell her to be ready, she sounded flustered. She claimed a huge, last-minute project had come up, and she couldn't possibly get away. Mark was disappointed but tried to be understanding. He ended up eating a slice of pizza alone at home, the gift box sitting unopened on the counter. The next day, he found a receipt in her coat pocket from a fancy downtown bar, time-stamped from the previous evening. It wasn't for a client meeting, it was for 2 cocktails. A cold knot of dread began to form in his stomach. This single receipt opened the floodgates of suspicion. Mark started noticing other inconsistencies. There were unexplained credit card charges for hotels in their own city. He once overheard a hushed phone call where she quickly hung up when he entered the room, her face flushed. The loving and open partner he knew was being replaced by a stranger who was secretive and distant. The emotional intimacy they once shared had evaporated, replaced by an uncomfortable silence. He felt like he was living with a ghost. He tried to talk to her, to ask if something was wrong, if she was unhappy. Each time she would deflect, blaming her mood on work or stress, sometimes even turning it around on him, accusing him of being paranoid and not trusting her. The emotional toll on Mark was immense. He started losing sleep, his work began to suffer, and a constant cloud of anxiety followed him everywhere. He felt isolated and confused, torn between the woman he loved and the growing evidence that she was hiding something significant. He didn't want to believe the worst, but the signs were becoming impossible to ignore. His friends noticed the change in him. His best friend David pulled him aside one day and asked what was going on. With a heavy heart, Mark confessed his fears. David listened patiently and suggested that for his own sanity, he needed to find out the truth, no matter how painful it might be. He couldn't go on living in this state of limbo. Driven by a desperate need for closure, Mark decided to do something he never thought he would. He hired a private investigator. It felt like a betrayal in itself, a final admission that the trust in his marriage was completely broken. Handing over the file with Sarah's photo and details felt surreal, like he was orchestrating the end of his own life story. The investigator was professional and discreet. He told Mark he would have answers within a week, That week was the longest of Mark's life. Every phone call made his heart pound. Every email notification sent a jolt of fear through him. He was terrified of what he might find out, but even more terrified of continuing to live a lie. The day the investigator called, Mark felt his world stop. He met him in a quiet coffee shop, his hands trembling as he took the manila envelope. Inside were photographs. Photos of Sarah, his Sarah, meeting another man. They were laughing, holding hands, and in one picture, they were kissing passionately outside a hotel. The man was a former colleague of hers, someone Mark had met a few times at company parties years ago. The photos were clear, undeniable proof of a long-term affair. Every vague excuse, every late night, every secret phone call suddenly made a sickening kind of sense. The life he had built, the love he had cherished, was all built on a foundation of deceit. Confronting Sarah was the hardest thing Mark had ever done. He waited until the kids were asleep, and then he calmly laid the photographs on the kitchen table. The silence was deafening. Sarah's face went pale, her confident demeanor crumbling in an instant. At first she tried to deny it, to create more stories, but the evidence was irrefutable. Finally she broke down. The whole story came tumbling out. The affair had been going on for over a year. She claimed she felt neglected, that the spark had gone, and that she had found excitement with someone else. She said she never meant to hurt him, that she still loved him in her own way. But for Mark, her words were empty. The trust was shattered beyond repair. The aftermath was a blur of pain, anger, and heartbreak. They decided to separate. Telling the children was agonizing. They navigated the difficult process of divorce, dividing assets, and creating a new reality as co-parents. For Mark, the healing process was slow and arduous. He leaned on his friends and family, and started seeing a therapist to help him process the betrayal and grief. He had to learn to rebuild his sense of self-worth, which had been completely dismantled. It was a journey of rediscovering who he was outside of his marriage, of learning to trust again, starting with himself. He focused on his children, pouring his love and energy into being the best father he could be for them. Slowly, day by day, he began to heal. This story is a stark reminder that things aren't always as they appear on the surface. Betrayal can come from the person you least expect, and the path to recovery is often long and difficult. But it also shows the incredible resilience of the human spirit. Mark's world was turned upside down, but he found the strength to face the truth, to rebuild his life, and to create a new future for himself and his children. If you've been through something similar, please know you are not alone, and that healing is possible. Thank you so much for joining me for this story today. If it resonated with you, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel for more content. Your support means the world. We'll see you in the next one.